see, well, what's the difference between a different father? And I found that there's different benefits depending upon whether you get friendly. Or if you just follow. All right? And so my relationship to the person that I'm communicating with, it's dependent upon my status, whether I've been received as a friend or whether it's just been tagged as a father. So I read this long technical explanation because again, I'm trying to get my vocabulary together so I'm not sure that I know what I'm talking about and get the right stuff together. So I read this long definition. This is the definition for the follow relationship. And this is a quote. It's the Facebook one-sided relationship personally. Fills a role as a sort of less intense relationship. It's also possibly the least valuable kind of relationship. I didn't make this definition up. This is the definition that as I did my Google search to find out what's the difference between friend and follow, this was the definition that was provided as it relates to the follow relationship. So you know the things that jumped out of the page. Jumped out of the page to me that it was a one-sided relationship and that it was a less intense relationship and it's the least valuable relationship follow. Okay. The other relationship that you all know about is the friend relationship. And here's the sentence that outlines the friend relationship. It says that Facebook is the traditional reciprocal friendship. In other words, you friend me, I friend you. It's a quid pro quo. I give and you give. I receive and you receive. It went on to say that when you are friends with someone, you can see their post in your feed and they can see your post in theirs. It also says friends have more weight than if you follow. Are you with me, my friends? Friends have more weight than if you follow. And then finally it says, friendship is, as mentioned above, a gated relationship. In order to be friends with someone, one of you needs to submit a friend request and the other needs to accept it. I'm like almost ready to give me a password. I'm that close, buddy. I'm that close. I'm that close. I got a friend. Friend will hook you up. Follower says, figure it out. So let me just review the follow and the friend. The follow is one-sided, whereas the friend is reciprocal. Are you with me? The follow is a less intense relationship, whereas the friend is a very intense relationship. And then finally, the follow is the least valuable, whereas the friend is precious and beyond measure. Probably wondering, what any of this has to do with Jesus Christ. I know he was going to talk about this, I would stay at home. I got a question this morning. friend or you just follow? The question has to be asked. And you need to know what your personal status is. Am I a friend or am I just a follower? In John chapter 15, a transformation takes place in the relationship between Jesus and his disciples. They have followed him and they have learned a great deal, but in every Christian's life, he or she must transition from an impersonal relationship to one that is extremely personal. Being saved is the beginning, but what we don't really understand is that this first step into salvation is not as personal as you think it is. That it is a transition, but it is just the beginning of who you are about to become. So in this beginning, it resembles the calling of the original disciples. But what we don't realize, what we don't understand is that when Christ calls you to salvation, it's not a static relationship. Static means it does not stay the way it was when you first got saved. It is a very dynamic relationship that continues to grow over time as you begin to know more and more and more about the one who has saved you. Somebody should have said amen. It's a relationship that's very transformational, and it's a relationship that continues for as long as you save. Look at your neighbor this morning and say, neighbor, are you a friend or are you a follower? Come on, turn to somebody else and say, neighbor, are you a friend or are you a follower? Look at somebody else and say, I know magazines, but it's all right. I need to know this morning, are you a friend or a follower? So I want to know who I'm sitting next to, because if I get in trouble, I need somebody that's a friend. If I get in trouble, I need somebody that's a friend, not a follower. See, a follower will look at me and say, uh-oh, you in trouble. The friend will say, how can I help you? Just like Patrick said, don't worry, I'll set you up. That's an example of a friend. But if you on the road to Jericho, you would find out what followers look like. Because when the criminals beat you up and left you for dead, those who were just following went to the other side.
Yes.
I'm getting there. John chapter 15. In this moment, I do got Bible for you. John chapter 15, in verse 12, Jesus is talking to his disciples, and he says to them, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. And then he really breaks it down for me in 13, because he says, greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friend. Are you with me? Jesus says that greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Now, if I were to use my imagination, because they've been his disciples now for 3 years, they've been following. Yeah, you didn't hear me. They've been following. Amen. So where he goes, because he's a celebrity, where he goes, they follow. All right. Where's he gonna be this week? If he's gonna be there, we're gonna be there too, because we follow. Amen. But Jesus sees that they need to transition from this follower mentality to a friend mentality. Anybody listening to me? Listening to me this morning? See, you think Zuckerberg knew what he was doing, but what he did is he read the Bible and he saw that in John chapter 15, Jesus made a friend request. request to them. The only way that they could be friends then was to accept the invitation and respond back. Are there any friends in the house this morning? Lord have mercy. Verse 14 says, you are my friends if you do what I command you. In other words, you are my friends if you receive this friend request. He establishes the weight of this relationship in verse 13 when he says, greater love hath no man than this, that a man would lay down his life for his friends. Now I don't want you to miss this fact here, because we've heard this passage over and over again, but I want you to think about it from this point. The Savior of the world, who has nothing to gain from friendship with you and me. No advantage, no benefit from being in friendship with you and I. This Savior of the world moves us from being followers or from having a following status to the status of a friend. And what he does when he does that is he transforms us from being spectators to participators. Touch the person next to you, tell them go to sleep yet. Because you need to catch this. If you're still spectating, your status hasn't changed. Now you was afraid to tell them that. I saw it. I said that you looked away. Yeah, look at him. Say, neighbor, if you're still spectating, your status hasn't changed. Well, when I listened this morning to all of the outreach activities that are going on at Faith and Love Center, outside of the church and inside of the church, I even thought that we didn't even tell you that when the holidays come, that we reach out to the families in the church to make sure that they can celebrate a holiday dinner too. That's for the folk that said you did that for all of them out there, what you do for the folk here. I just need you to know what's going on. I need you to know. If you come to the coffee talk, you would know, but because you don't come to the coffee talk, you don't know. But there is love in Faith and Love Center. And it's not just words, but it shows itself in deed. It reaches out to those that are in need of help, but it doesn't always proclaim itself. It doesn't always talk about itself. It doesn't always show itself, but it blesses those who have a need. So now if I'm sitting around saying, I wish there was something for me to do, they don't ever do anything in that church. I want to do a little bit more than I'm doing. The problem is you stuck in being a follower. So you never hear the invitation to help. Let me tell you, for Operation Christmas Shop, if every person bought one thing, just one thing, I'm sure we could fill about 50 boxes. If everybody just bought one thing, so for the person that says, well, $5, that's an awful lot for me. And I ain't going to McDonald's. I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts for a large coffee and a breakfast sandwich. If I miss one, right, because I should be fasting one day anyway. One day I got it covered. Chrissy, why did you lead me this way? This friendship status transforms you, so you can't be comfortable just sitting down and being a spectator. You've got to participate in the ministry that's taking place. Watch this in verse 16. In verse 15, Jesus says, no longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. In other words, once once you find out what your master is doing, and you know what his desires are, you don't wait for him to say, "Now, I need you to do this now. I need you to do this now." When you see a need and you know what Jesus would do, then your prayer becomes, "Lord, I'm moving in this area. Is this where you want me to go?" And 9 times out of 10, he's going to tell you, "Yeah, go ahead and help them out." No longer do I call you servants, for a servant doesn't know what his master's doing, but I have called you friend. For all things that I heard from my Father, I have made known to you. Because this relationship is so personal. See, that anything that gets posted on my page, because you're a friend, you're going to be able to see the post. Y'all don't even hear me this morning. Listen, I don't even use the thing when I got that. When I started studying and I understood what a friend was, I got excited all by myself. I said, "Lord have mercy." Then when I get to friend status, and Holy Spirit is my friend, when I get to friend status, whatever is said in heaven and posted to his page, posted to my page, so I know what's going on. Why would you stick with a relationship that's impersonal and keeps you at arm's length? Come on, look at 3 people. Tell them I got friend status. I got friend status. Come on, tell 3 people I got friend status. This morning with "I am a friend of God." See, the problem becomes that if he's a friend of God and God has posted on my page that I need you to talk about friends this morning, even though I didn't talk to him, he saw the post. Once you see the post, you got to talk about it. So got posted to his page, got posted to the ensemble's page, got posted to the congregation's page. Anybody a friend of God? Come on, clap your hands and give God some praise. Hey, look at the person next to you and say, "Listen, if you haven't changed your status, you need an upgrade." Anybody believe that? Come on, give him some praise. I'm still in John 15, in verse 17, he says, "These things I command you, that you love one another." I had 2 Bibles open, 2 versions open rather. I had the New King James open, and I had the Amplified. And when I looked at the Amplified, this is what the Amplified says: "This is what I command you." This is the one who called you friend. So since he called you friend, he's posting on your page that you need to love one another. Now, because you are his friend, you can't say I didn't see the post. Because it posts to your page automatically. Are you with me? It posts to your page automatically. So when receiving the friend invitation, you hit him back. You accepted the invitation. And so now, because he's posting that I have to have love one for another, it's on my page, I gotta respond to what my friend says. So watch this. This is what I command you. This is Jesus. That you love and, this is amplified, unselfishly seek the best for one another. Right? So in other words, it's not, I love you. It's I love you, I want you to have the very best. I love you, so I care about you. I love you, so I want to protect you. I love you, so I want to give to you. That's the love that's being spoken about. And if you have friend status with Jesus, you should have friend status with anybody else that has friend status with Jesus. And if you are a friend of mine, you should love me. I'm almost done, my brother. I'm almost done. So look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, did you get your friend request? Because if you got it, you should have responded to it. Anybody ready to respond to the friend request? And the response is not to clap your hands. The response is to love your neighbor. Listen, I got time. The response is to love your neighbor. You still didn't hear what I said. I got time. The response is to love your neighbor. If you receive the friend request, the response is to love